Hi, I'm Stu 3D, and in this video I'm going to just show you what I believe to be arguably one of the most versatile little portable SDR rigs that you can just lob in your pocket and take around with you. A little bit of background about myself. I'm not an amateur radio operator. I don't have a license. I've always been fascinated by radio since I was a kid. Worked as a comms engineer in the Navy on a submarine, although I was more specialised in the internal comms side because you didn't get to work on the radio equipment until you were senior rate level, and I left before that. But I've always loved radio propagation, and DXing, seeing how far away I can pick up radio stations from. Back when I was a kid, I had a little old school 1980s hi-fi tuner that I got from a second-hand shop for £5, strung up below the speaker wire around my bedroom ceiling, and I lived in Lowestoft at the time, and I was picking up radio stations from Kent in FM in stereo, which is rather good. Where I used to live in Lowestoft used to be great for propagation anyway, being right on the East Coast. In the summer used to be a nightmare for watching TV because you used to get it was called their parents used to call it, it's the Atmospherics on BBC again. They didn't realise it was actually a Dutch TV channel coming in on the same frequency and causing black bars up and down BBC, so that was always quite good. But yeah, ever since then, climbing on the roof as a kid to point the analog satellite at different satellites to watch the naughty channels when your parents went out and stuff like that. It was I've always been fascinated by radio and stuff, and so I got into SDR. My friend Skaz, he tried to get me into it before, and I never really got into it. About a year ago, nearly 2 years ago now, I bought an SDR Play RSP1A, which is what I'm using on my main PC rig. As you can see, here it is on a nice 21:9 ultra-wide monitor, and that's running on SDR console, and it works absolutely brilliantly. In the window, I've got a little switch box with 3 antennas. I've got 2 long wires, one 22.5 strung over the garden, and the other 40 odd meters down the back garden, and then I've got a vertical one as well for that. And yeah, so at home, that's what I've been using to scan the airwaves, have a listen about. And I wanted something I could take with me, be able to do the same thing. And I really liked the look of the Malahite. So I ended up buying a Malahite DSP2, one of the Chinese clone ones, but actually it's the officially licensed one from the Malahite team. So it's actually quite a decent one. And that is a decent radio. Got very nice sound quality. I'm going to just turn that down because the geezer's stopped speaking now. Yeah, it's got very nice sound quality. But, and a big but, is it's very complicated to set up. There is a lot of different options, and you have to tinker with them until you get the best signal, and it's very overwhelming. I mean, I was Googling all what various different terms mean: PGA, BST, mix up LNAGR, and and I was just like, Christ, most amateur radio licensed people probably know all of those terms and be able to just go, yep, yeah, do. But I thought, the Malahite was one of those where you'd get it set up in one scenario and turn the various options on, and then you go use it again another day, and suddenly you're getting no signals, and you're like, what the hell's going on here? Then you have to change the bloody settings again, and then it's like, now it's working again. And it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's got good sound quality, and I think someone a bit more advanced than I am would probably get the most out of it. The other thing I also found is like the waterfall display, which is the main reason I wanted an SDR on the road. Is I love looking at the waterfall coming in. Before I switched over to weapons engineering and specialising in comms, I was a sonar operator in the Navy, and so looking at the radio waterfall is very much reminiscent of sitting there staring at the sonar. You know, that's how what is a radio signal on the screen on the waterfall here would be an audio contact on the actual sonar system. And so yeah, I really wanted to take that with me, and unfortunately the Malahite's waterfall is really sensitive. You either get it so you can just about see the signals coming in, but then you end up with a load of marks all over it where it's picking up all the spurious crap, and then you try to dial it back so that you're not getting a load of interference on the waterfall, and you can barely see the signals coming in. I've tried to tinker with the tried changing the waterfall black and white and black, the original ones, and yeah, it's a bit of a faff to get it set nicely like I've got it here. Like you can see all the signals coming in here. It's great. And the other thing that I really don't like about the Malahite, and it's not its fault, it's the processing power, is that you only get 192 kilohertz FFT window, so it is very, very narrow, and it kind of makes sense on a small screen and stuff, but I like having a bigger window. So on my RSP1A, I usually keep it around 2 megahertz wide, and on my portable setup, I've got it 1 megahertz wide. As you can see, it's got a nice view of the 80 meter band at the moment, and some extra at the bottom, underneath it, and above it. So that's basically the background stuff. So I'll show you what the rig is. So I've got just a cheap Android mobile phone. I went out and bought it especially for this purpose. It was £99 from Argos. It wasn't on any kind of special offer. It's a Motorola G35. It's got a Unisoc T760 processor, 4 gig of RAM, 128 gig of storage, and the Motorola ROM is actually pretty clean. Yes, when you first set it up, it wants to download a load of crap off the Play Store, but unlike cheap Samsungs, you can actually turn around and uninstall all of that crap. It's brilliant, and so you get it really nice and clean. So and I've got my trackball, and I'll go into that in a minute as well, but if I get rid of this, let me just clear that down, and then just bring up, look, it's very close to stock Android. There's very little crap on there, to be honest with you. Now, I bought a Samsung tablet a while back for using the SDR on the go, and it's good, but the battery just plummets. It's the battery don't last that long. And it's weird because this phone's got a higher resolution screen, higher refresh rate, similar power processor. In fact, I think the processor in this phone is ever so slightly more powerful. Similar size battery. I think the tablet's got an extra 100 milliamp hours, and there's only about 2 inches in the screen. This has got a 6.72, and the tablet's got an 8.7. But yeah, the tablet just absolutely just drains battery like no tomorrow. I'm running this with the FT8 decoder and all that, and as you can see, if I can get it to focus, I'm using my iPhone in my hand. Battery is still on 84%. And I've had it on for a little while. So so the Motorola phone is actually very good. Obviously, you can use any bargain basement Android phone or any old phone you might happen to have lying around. Obviously, unfortunately, iPhones don't work because Apple's blocks of USB ports and drivers and stuff. Otherwise, my iPhone 16 Pro Max would probably, would absolutely cakewalk this. But, a cheap Android phone, 100 quid, and your quid's in, really. It's a real decent setup. So then, attached to that Android phone, I'm going to flip it over. I've got stuck to the back with some double-sided tape, proper ghetto. I have an RTL-SDR V4C, which is the USB-C variant of the RTL-SDR Blog V4. Little ESR kickstand, which, as you saw, keeps the phone upright. And I actually imported this cable because it's got ferrites on it. The one thing about using an Android phone to run your SDR is touchscreen noise. The Malahite also suffers from it as well, but there's options to disable the touchscreen while you're using it. But on the phone, obviously, you can't disable the touchscreen, and so I found that it's very fussy with USB cables. I bought a cheap one that sort of went out the USB port backwards, and then I taped it to the back of the phone straight in, and it was a right angle connector. It was all nice and neat, but when you listen to it on FM, you got the touchscreen noise down in HF, but then when you had it on FM, you could just hear this horrible beep. When there weren't a station, it was god awful. Changed the USB cable out to one of my generic charging cables that came with a pair of headphones. It was lovely and clear, great. But the problem is that cable was too long, so I ordered this one, and it had to come from America. But it wasn't cheap. It was 18 quid, and it's not bad. It's got ferrites on it and stuff, and it does do the job. You will still get touchscreen noise, unfortunately, but that can be mitigated with antenna choice. So the original plan was to basically, I've got a big, long Knights Electrocom telescopic antenna, which picks up really well. I was just going to attach that and walk around with it just extended. Unfortunately, the touchscreen noise is quite significant every few hundred hertz. I think it's every 400 or so. And it's definitely touchscreen noise, because if you turn the screen off, it goes away. And because this has got a variable refresh rate screen, if you lock it to 60 hertz, the tone changes of it. So if you lock it to 60 or 100, the tone and noise changes. So, but yeah, that's a problem you're going to have with any modern device. Touchscreen noise is the devil, and trying to fight to get rid of that is a nightmare. But anyway, so I'm going to flip it back over and power it all up again. Bear with me. Please tell me my fingerprint's going to work, and it did. Luckily, I haven't had to put my PIN code in. So I've got, so yeah, that's the hardware setup. I bought a Logitech trackball mouse, because I quite often, on my lunch break, take this to work and set it up on the dashboard of the van and put an antenna on the roof using the mag mount, and have a scan around the airwaves when I'm on my lunch break. And SDR Brown is one of the two bits of software that I use. It's the more powerful of the two. It's got a lot in it. It's a very good piece of software. And compared to the standard SDR++, it does work a lot better on touchscreens. But ultimately, it's one of those ones where it is ultimately a desktop app that's been shrunk to fit on a small screen. It was never designed for the small screen from the word go. So it's kind of been shoehorned to fit. And because of that, you really do want a desktop style input device. So this is just a cheap 27 quid at the moment, Logitech M575S Bluetooth trackball. So don't have to have any dongles or anything attached. It just works over Bluetooth. And as you see, it's all up and running. So yeah, so as I said, this is SDR++ Brown, and if I'm using it at a desk or using it whilst I'm walking about, if I'm using it at a desk or using it just on the dashboard of a vehicle, this is what I would use, because it's a lot more powerful. As you can see, the FT8 signals are coming in and everything. If I was to be walking about with it, which I will show you later on in the video, I'll take it outside and I'll show you. But If I was to start walking about with it, there's a phenomenal piece of software which is optimized for the touchscreen, and it's called RF Analyser 2. It's a few quid from the App Store. I think it's only about £5 or something. But the best thing about it, it's got a virtual tuning wheel. So if I start the app up now, and I just broke it because I didn't hit there because I hit the mouse. There we go. So if I start the app up now, go to demodulation, and then you can type it in. So I'm going to go back down to the 80 meter band, and then go down like that. Set to lower sideband, and then I'm going to zoom it in. As you can see, you've got a virtual tuning wheel, and it works brilliantly. Look, you can just wheel it along, and it just makes tuning so much easier. So when you're walking about, obviously this is in the landscape view at the moment. It does flip around to portrait, and so you can attach an antenna to the top and just walk around with it. Now, compared to SDR Brown, this is a much more limited SDR software. Dennis Mantz, the guy who made it, he is adding stuff to it. This is quite an early build of version 2.0. He's got plans to add like a noise reduction algorithm and stuff going forward, and just optimizing it and stuff. But for now, if I was just walking around, this allows me to control it so much easier. There you go. You've got your various demodulators and stuff. There you go. So you've got your demodulators, you've got your lower sideband, AM, FM narrow, FM wide, lower sideband, upper sideband, all there, so you can decode it, and you don't have to have that tuning window open all the time. You can actually tune it with your finger by doing that, but I prefer the tuning wheel because I just find you can't get it quite as precise. If you use the tuning wheel, it snaps. There you go. So let me just snap it on. There we go. So yeah, it snaps on a lot better. So this is the one I would use if I was just walking around with a phone in my hand. SDR Brown is the one I would use if I was sat at a desk, or if I was, you know, sat at with the phone on the dashboard. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close this one down. I need to hit the stop button because this one actually runs in the background, and it works really well in the background. One of the problems with SDR Brown is the minute it goes in the background, you don't like it. It does start to break up and have all sorts of problems. It's not happy being in the background. So anyway, so let me get me SDR Brown up and just tune into something using the scroll wheel on the mouse. Let me just get something up. There's a nice strong one there. There we go. That's a nice strong signal there. As you see, you've got a lovely, good, clear spectrum. This phone is 20 by 9, so 2400 by 1080p. It's a great screen for just zooming out and looking at the spectrum. And it looks like my iPhone is switched in between macro mode and normal mode, so I do apologise for the camera there. So I'm going to just turn the volume down so I can hear myself think. As you can see, FT8 is just coming in. I'm not even tuned to the FT8 signal, which is down here. As long as the FT8 is within the receivable spectrum and you've got the option enabled, it will just automatically start decoding FT8 and FT4 for you. Like Moscow City, Russia, somewhere in the EU, I ain't gonna even try and pronounce that, Germany, England, you know, it's just pulling them in automatically. And that is just simply using that option there. If I turn that off, they will stay on the screen for a bit and then they'll eventually fade away. One of the best things about SDR++ Brown is the noise reduction algorithm, and this is the reason I use only 1 megahertz wide, is because there's a baseband noise reduction. So we'll do audio noise reduction first. It's not bad, but it needs to have more control, really. There needs to be an intensity level because it does work a little too well. So if I turn the volume up, unfortunately with SDR++ Brown, because there's like a transmit function in it, I don't know how to use that. I haven't got a transmitter, so the volume up button doesn't work. You have to press the volume down, bring that menu up, and then wheel it up with the mouse or your finger. I think they've mapped the volume up button to maybe push to talk or something. But yeah, as you can hear, I will bring up the let me just bring up the, so this is the audio noise reduction on, noise reduction off. It makes a lot of difference, but in some cases it does work a bit too well, and especially on the fainter signals it does make it harder to hear. However, SDR++ Brown's party piece is the baseband noise reduction. Now this is a CPU hog, but it's great. If I do this, look, all of the signals have now become significantly stronger, and the noise floor has dropped quite significantly. So beforehand, the noise floor was above those the band plan there. With the noise reduction algorithm, the baseband noise reduction on, it drops it significantly and just really enhances the signals coming in. It does require, though, a lot of processing power. There you go, it's sitting 79. It'll start to warm. There you go, 81%. But as you can see, it makes a huge difference. That, if you use that, you can actually bring in some real faint signals. But again, if you've got, because it's so CPU intensive, if I was to now fire up the FT8 decoder at the same time, as the FT8 decoder starts decoding the signals, you'll hear the audio start to break up a little bit with the baseband noise reduction. So I've got to get the volume. There we go. So we'll just wait for it. There. Can you hear it breaking up a little bit? It's because the FT8 decoder also takes a little bit of processing power, and it just, there isn't quite, on this low-end phone, there isn't quite enough power to run them both together, not reliably anyway. As you see, it's the CPU's a lot more in use. So I turn off the FT8, there you go, as it's pulled in a load more FT8. If I now turn that off, it should start to clean itself up a bit. But obviously with SDR++ Brown, it's the same as the standard SDR++ that you'd have on your laptop and whatnot. You know, all of the features are the same, all of the same demodulators and stuff. But you do have some extra ones. So, and this is one of my favourite things, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find any signals that are actually in use. There's one there, but it ain't going to be, is that a signal or is that noise? Nope, that's noise. I'm actually using an antenna that's not actually, oh, that's why I need to turn the baseband noise reduction off up here, because I don't need it on when I get this far up. Let me just get it all tuned, find a signal I can use. Typical. There isn't one. Where are we? So basically, this has got a built-in DSD decoder, which works so much better than it does on my bloody laptop. It's on because I have to feed audio through on the laptop. You have to decode it. You have to use narrow FM and then get the audio and then feed it through to the laptop and then have the laptop sound card trying to decode it. Whereas this is all built in. There's a DMR signal. So if I now go radio DSD, as you can see, it's got a DMR decoder. So during the day, I was able to listen to the town centre security guards catching some woman who robbed Ann Summers or something. So that was quite funny. But yeah, built-in DMR decoder. It's great. See, it is picking it up, but this time of night, as you can see, I'm recording it at 10 to 10 at night. There ain't a huge amount going on. Let me just see if there's anything else I can connect it to. No. The other thing is the antenna I'm using, as I said, it's not really designed to be used up at this frequency range. I am actually using, at the moment in the house, a Chinese YouLoop clone. And attached to that is a Flamingo FM stop filter and a Newelec Lana HF preamp. And I tell you what, the signals it gets are it was a really good antenna, to be honest with you. I've put that up in the loft, and yeah, basically it's up in the loft, and yeah, it works really well. You know, on my main rig, I have to switch between antennas for certain bands, whereas this YouLoop seems to just work really well, no matter what I tune it to. As I said, it's picking up DMR here, and weirdly enough, the other night this was picking up a DMR signal I couldn't get on my outdoor vertical antenna on my SDR play. I was like, really? I mean, this antenna's not even tuned for this bloody signal range. The outdoor one is. It's a bloody proper scanner antenna. It goes up to like 25 to 1,000 or something. But the YouLoop, I think, does 500k up to 300 or something like that. It's not meant to go up this far. As you can see, it is, and it's picking them up, and it is decoding the DMR. There's no voice coming through at the moment. This is just, you know, I'm assuming it's just a holding signal. I don't know how these DMR radios work. I'm assuming there must be like a base station in the security office somewhere that sends a signal out to the radios so they all stay linked, and then when someone talks, it then goes over the same frequency. I'm assuming, I don't know, but I found there's a lot of these DMR signals that just stay here with nothing on it apart from like the link data and, you know, CSBK and whatever that means. I'm sure someone in the comments will you know, come and educate me a little bit further. But yeah, as I said, this antenna in the house setup works really well. I mean, I can get it all the way down to 160. That works quite well and all. Yeah, 160 meter band. Here we are. Let me just zoom. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to turn the gain down because there's a lot of gain at the moment. I have to crank it for getting up there, up on the higher frequencies. So I zoom in. There we go. There's some 160. Zoom in. Get the. There's some signals. And if I turn the volume up, yeah, there you go, 160 band there. Signal's coming in lovely. And if I tap on there, this is where the baseband noise reduction really comes in handy.
Gibt immer DL2 Golf Golf und dann erst das andere Rufzeichen für Venezuela.
As you can see, works just really well. But you've got the audio noise reduction that I showed you before. And in this case, it's probably better to use in the baseband because you turn the baseband on and it seems to make everything come alive. But yeah, there you go. There's the 160. You know, you can scan it up. There you go. You got your aeronautical. And there you go. You got your handband there, which is what we were on before. Oh, yeah, I left the noise reduction on Analyser. I wonder why it sounded like that. Yeah, as I said, in the house here at the moment it works really well, but it also works well mobile as well. You know, as I said, with with decent antenna outdoors, you can actually get some pull in some signals. So I use oh yeah, I've got the noise reduction on there. I'm going to work with AM radio stations. And if I drag that across a bit, there you go. I think this might be Voice of Turkey, isn't it? Oh, look, Brother Stairs back. This guy makes me laugh. I know he's dead, but and they broadcast a sermon. This is like almost like if the Westboro Baptist Church had high-powered shortwave transmitters all over the world. In fact, this is where the baseband noise reduction is actually quite useful. So if I do this, there you go. Oh, Brother Stairs cleaned up a lot here. So yeah, so this is it just on the desk, and this is, as I said, with the trackball, is what I would use just, as I said, in a vehicle, on a desk, you know, at a table, someone like that. So going mobile, I've got two antennas I use when I'm mobile. So the main one I use if I'm doing HF is the Deshibo GA800. I like to call mine the Stealth Edition because I have caked it in amalgamating tape and insulation tape. It is pure black now. Even the ring is black. I've caked it to weatherproof it because we've had a lot of downpours lately, and I like using it when I'm in the van. The good thing about the GA800, because it's a magnetic loop antenna, is that it will help with a lot of the touchscreen noise. Don't get me wrong, you're still going to get bits of it, but nowhere near as bad as if you'd use a telescopic antenna. If you put a telescopic one on there, there's a real good bit of noise at 4112 kilohertz. If you tune into put an AM demodulator on that, you just get a pop-up. It is god awful. But with the Deshibo on there, it pretty much gets rid of it. Don't get, as I said, you will get interference in different parts of the spectrum, but the Deshibo does go a lot of way of to getting rid of it. And it's a real good antenna. I was picking up Voice of Korea, the old North Korean propaganda station, because me and Skaz take the piss, you know. We say that Skaz is Big Kim's IT guy. Skaz has even got a T-shirt with, I think it's a cartoon of Kim Jong-un riding a rocket, and it just says Rocket Man on it or something. And so, yeah, we take the mick that, you know, Skaz is a North Korean spy. So, but yeah, so Voice of Korea is quite a funny one for us to tune into, and it's quite weak normally. But with the GA800, I was parked in a shopping centre, so not fully under the, in the underground, not the underground bit, but not fully under the roof. I was just on the outside, but the roof was about 2 spaces away. So I was quite closed in. You know, I was that the road behind is raised up a bit, so you know, car alternators and stuff. It wasn't a very good place to be trying to do DXing, and yes, with the Deshibo, I was just about able to faintly pull in the Voice of Korea signal in a shopping centre car park with it mag mounted to the roof of my work van whilst I was on my lunch break. So yeah, it's it is quite impressive, to be honest with you. And then yes, I got my Knights Electrocom, the big super long scanner antenna that I then use for sort of FM and above, because the touchscreen noise isn't really so much of a problem at that range. The Deshibo is a bit funny. Sometimes it will work on FM, sometimes it won't. But yeah, but it works great down at HF, so that's why I use it, and I sort of use it telescopic. The one thing about the Deshibo that a lot of people probably don't realise, a lot of the complaints I've seen about it is they go, oh, the power supply unit that it comes in, because it's the loop, and then you get like a little power supply base. Everyone complains that power supply bias T injector puts a lot of electrical noise into the signal, because it's a switching transformer to boost the output from a it's an 18650 battery up to 9 volts. Well, turns out you don't actually need that power base. The Deshibo will absolutely happily run off the bias T from the RTL-SDR. It works absolutely great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause it, stop this section of the video in the house, and then I'm going to just go out in the garden with the Deshibo and the telescopic, and just give you a quick demo of it running outdoors and show you that it is genuinely a portable mobile setup. So, as I said indoors, yeah, I'm using my GA800, I call it the Stealth Edition, because as I said, I caked it in tape. I've got a little 0.9 metre RG58 BNC cable. It goes into the RTL-SDR. And there we go. You're getting the brother stare, mentalist god bothering radio out here. It's not as strong, don't get me wrong, but it still works. If I now zoom out, look, it's the best thing about this, as I said, it is where that works. I'm trying to use it one-handed. There we go. But yeah, look, zoom in and out, look, tune up. This tuning wheel is amazing. I just whiz it up. What am I finding? There we go, something's there. Obviously, I don't normally have the Deshibo in my hand. You can obviously hang the Deshibo off that connector, but it is bloody heavy, and I personally worry that I'd break the connector. So that's why I got the little extension cable. Plus, actually, with the extension cable, it moves it away from the noise a bit more. So yeah, as I see, I stand a bit further back, and that horrible clicking noise is gone. But now, if I go down, you can dial straight in. So if I'm going to go to the 80 metre band, lower side band, now I'm going to just zoom in. So I'm trying to do it looking through an iPhone screen at another screen, but look, if I now just there you go, there's a signal. As I said, compared to Plus Brown, this is quite basic, but with the tuning wheel, it works great. You know, just being able to use it, you know, with your hand out and about. You know, it's almost as good as actually having a real tuning knob on a proper radio. There we go, look. There we go, another signal coming in there. So if I now tune it to, so I'll show you the touchscreen noise. If I go 4112, go AM demodulation. In fact, is that a little bit of it there? Yeah, there it is. Let me go AM. That's it a little bit. The Deshibo still picks it up a little bit, but actually, as I move away, it goes down. If I get closer, it gets louder. But if I was to put the telescopic on here, which I'm now going to do, so I will put the telescopic on there, and it's just god awfully loud. So bear with me. Sorry, just so I've got it there, and I will extend it out. So now I've got the telescopic on there, and pray to God, my fingerprint, come on, recognise it. There we go. So now I've got the telescopic on there. Demodulation, there we go. So if I start it up again, oh God, it's going to be stupid because I powered the screen off. Yeah, RTL driver's already running. Okay, right, it's going to be like that. So what I shall do is I shall force quit the driver and see if that works. It's because I was messing about with it. In normal use, you don't really, you get the odd little bug here and there, but you know, in normal use, it's there you go. Force stop the RTL driver. That should hopefully solve that. Sometimes you get out of RF Analyser because it's using the third-party driver. There we go. Yep, there you go. There you go. Now with a telescopic, that's the noise. It's god awful. If I now turn the screen off, it goes. I'll put it back. Come on. That's in 60 hertz mode, and that's I think that's 120. I mean, the antenna still works, but the telescopic for HF is really a no-go. You can still use it, but you wouldn't want to. But there you go. Look, you're still getting signals on the telescopic, and if you can tune around the noise, so it's not completely unusable. There you go, signal there. But obviously the Deshibo is a lot better. However, the telescopic works really well up at FM. So if I go FM wide, there you go, and give it a good flick. Good flick. There you go, get the FM dial back a bit because the signals are super strong. Revolution radio, which is quite difficult to pick up here because heart overpowers it. But then if I zip up, I'm wondering if I can still pick it. 105.1. That is an Islamic radio station being broadcast from Luton. That's Inspire in Luton, that is. And I'm in Northampton, so yeah, that works quite well. If I go 128, 592, that's the airband volmet. Demodulation, AM. Oh God, yeah, that's the only thing with this app. 128.592, 592. There we go. There we go. We've got the volmet. So there you go. You've got the airband as well. And this is why I prefer it over the Malahite. The Malahite, there's loads of different options. There's a preamp gain, an RF gain, and various bloody attenuators and stuff, whereas this, you've just got a bloody slider knob. You have got an auto gain control, but by all accounts on the V4 RTL-SDR, it don't work very well, so don't use it. Set the gain manually. But yeah, and that is with the telescopic now out and about. But yeah, you see I'm able to hold it in one hand with a huge antenna, and yeah, that's why I said it's a very versatile setup for SDR. As I said, you know, mag mount the antennas to the roof, use the little trackball, and you're laughing basically. If you just want an L basic setup, the phone was 100 quid. The RTL-SDR V4 was about 40. You know, USB cable, if you could just use a generic USB-C. So, you know, a couple of quid there. Antenna, well, hopefully you've got one. If not, then, you know, an extra couple of quid. All in all, this whole unit could be had for as little as about 150, which is just over half the price of the Malahite. Yeah, I find it a lot easier and a lot more versatile to use. Now, obviously, if you start chucking in the extras that I've got, like the trackball mouse and stuff, the trackball mouse is another 27. The hard case that I've got the phone in, it comes with a rubber one. This particular one does. But the hard case I've got it in costs a tenner. And I got the hard case so I could actually attach the radio to the back of it to stop it flexing. And yeah, so realistically, yeah, about 200 if you chuck in mouse and other bits and bobs. But and obviously if you want to use the Deshibo, then you're looking at another 100 for that. So, you know, but you could easily, you know, the issue with a touchscreen noise is near field antennas. So if you have like a telescopic or something really close to it, yes, you're gonna get touchscreen noise. But if I attach it to my house antenna, the YouLoop in the loft, or if I attach it to my random wire, this is the front garden one that you can see sort of strung up through the trees, you don't get any of that touchscreen noise. So realistically, you could you know, get this set up, get one of those little New-Elec Ballon 1.9 things with the two little the crimp terminal things on the end, where you just push the push fit terminal and then just shove a length of wire on that and then throw that up in the tree, and again, you're pretty much good to go. So that's why I would say it's a quite a nice versatile versatile setup. And once it's set up, it is actually really easy to use. It's a lot easier than the Malahite, because as I said, rather than having a whole host of different bloody options for gain and gain reduction and noise reduction and all of that, you've literally just got a gain slider, and it's the same gain slider in SDR++ or you know, the RF Analyser software. And I've spoke to the guy who made the RF Analyser software. It is very early on at the moment, but he said he's going to be looking to implement a noise reduction algorithm and and add more and more to that app as it goes on. So it's only going to get better in theory. So yeah, this is my rundown of my portable SDR setup. Hopefully you guys have found it interesting. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one. Bye.